Alright, for today we're going to do a demonstration of the Weber Mass. This is a Weber Mass 100. It also has a headphone tap, which means you can run any amp out to headphones, which will be a separate demo. We're going to use the 64 Super Reverb. It's got CTS alnicos in it, and the speaker that's mic'd is a Eminence Lil Buddy. Gives a little more body at lower volumes. At a later point, we'll do a demo with comparing it to the hot plate, and we'll use the Weber Z Matcher so that we can use the Bad Cat Unleash and do a comparison. But for now, we'll focus on the Weber. The guitar we'll be using is a Partscaster. It has Electric City pickup P90s in it, and it has a weird gauge of string. It's Pyramid Pure Nickels, but it's in the Jimi Hendrix gauge. So it's 38 on the bass, running to 10 on the high E. So if you're wondering where some of the boomy bass is on the Super, that's where it went or why it's not there. So the strings are absolutely brand new. They're going to get pulled out of tune. I'm going to play terribly, but if anything, I'm hoping you'll be able to hear how well of a job the Weber does at attenuating a vintage amp that has no business in an apartment. So, wish me luck. Alright, first up, the unattenuated signal. Turn the Weber on. A little quieter, possibly a loss of treble, tough to tell, just because, yeah, again, there's a volume loss. But let's turn the attenuation up. Obviously, very, very quiet. Practice levels. So, let's turn the amp up. Oop, bumped into neck middle. Now I'm noticing the possible loss of a little bit of treble, so let's add it back in. Back to sparkly. Let's see if we put on 6 dBs. I feel like that was a little brighter than the original tone itself. So, let's keep going. Weber Mass down. So, sorry if it's getting pulled out of tune. The strings are absolutely brand new and haven't stretched fully yet. Push the amp. We're at again, that verge of too loud for this situation, or this setting. hear the breakup. Again, the speakers are interpreting the signal. It's an attenuated signal, so it's not going to be perfect. You can't get Stevie Ray's roaring driven tone at a bedroom or even apartment level. So there's going to be some changes in tonality compared to if this was just wide open, but it's still great. And actually, now that I'm attenuating, I can really dig into the amp, into my strings, and I'm not clipping the mic. Now, we can go further down, and let's just go max. Let's try the bridge. So, as you can tell, bridge, pretty crazy tone. I don't know that you'd want to run a super at 10 all day long, even with the attenuator there, just for the sake of the tubes and the amp itself. But yeah, the Weber Mass takes it with no problem, and it's going to give you about as good a tone as you can expect for, again, being under, we're like sub 100 dBs with the Super at 10. So really amazing device. And again, in an ideal situation, you're finding where you can get some breakup if you pick harder and a volume that still works for your. A spot on the amp where you can still have those dynamics coming through. You still can hear the still can hear the strings, still get all that tone, but add something that's usable for your situation. There's also this other option here, which is the low range. It takes another 6 dBs off, apparently. It sounds to me too like it shaves a bit of bass, which could really come in handy if you're doing nighttime practice with a Marshall or a Super, and you've got an amp that is typically pretty boomy and the bass travels through the floor. So I don't know. Again, maybe it's more usable on the opposite end of the spectrum as well, but the high range seems to be where I spend most of my day, and adding about 3 dBs back of treble. So hope this was helpful. I'll do a demo as well of the other attenuators and the headphone tap. One last thing before we go. Let's go back to a pretty clean tone. Even with the Weber Mass in, pedals still work really well. So it really does a great job of preserving your original tone. I can't hear any coloration between the bypass and the attenuation. You might have to play with your EQ slightly, depending on how far you attenuate it. But as for preserving original tone and getting it to as a usable volume, regardless of your situation, it's about one of, if not the best attenuators out there. We'll see how it does versus the Bad Cat Unleash Larry Point, which does a really great job with Marshall style tones and attenuating those. But for now, I hope this was helpful, and happy tone hunting.